The 32 NFL team owners, as well as the head coaches of those 32 teams and their GMs, have gathered in a disclosed location to have the annual owners meeting. So we will look at Howie Roseman's takeaways that he gave to us during his media availability and see what we can glean from the salary cap wizard. What's up? It's your boy Cintron. Come back after another analysis / news video. And I kid you not, that's my real name. Too much hand action gestures going on here. But anyways, let's look at these 9 takeaways that Howie Roseman has gifted us. So, first item on the addendum here. Did the Eagles have the opportunity to match the offer of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the safety that we lost in free agency, got from the Lions? And if so, why didn't they? I think they said they came to him early in free agency, even before anybody else, so they made him a priority and gave him a contract offer. He didn't like it. Apparently it was, $3.5 million in the first and second years and 17 on the third, which was a backloaded deal, but it was most likely guaranteed that he would get that money, but he just didn't like, the allocation, it being backloaded. And, he thought that he could get more on the open market. He misread it. So did his agent. And they most likely came back and were, at least seeking to match that deal or, something close to it. And they were like, hey, if, most likely it was, they told him, if you get something, let us, let's keep in contact. But, he felt spited and, turned out he didn't get what he wanted to on the open market and just decided, hey, I'll just go with whatever because anything is better than being here with these guys. And, how he said, he was asked, do you remember him coming back to his offer? So at that point, he had already made his decision to move on. And, we had already told him that, hey, this is what it is. We're working with a fixed number here because we're trying to make the team competitive. We pay you, and then we're not able to bring pieces back to remain to retain our core of what took us to the Super Bowl last year. What's the point? And he just made a selfish decision overall, and he's really playing for 6.5 next year on a 1-year contract. But I mean, it is what it is. You can't bring everybody back. The fact they let you know up front what the deal was, you didn't like it, and you took that personally, that's on you. So, I mean, nobody was willing to pay him that. If he was able to go out there and get what he wanted, he would be justified. He felt vindicated, but the fact that he wasn't, doubly burned him and made him feel upset. So, it is what it is. Was the contract fair? Maybe, maybe not, but that's for C.J. Gardner-Johnson and his agent to judge. But it's turned into this whole diatribe and, him being butthurt and he's sending veiled messages and all this stuff. And it's like, whatever, man. Let's move on. I was sorry to lose him, but I'm like, hey, with 2 top-notch corners coming back, I'll take that L. So it is what it is. But glad to see that, how he stuck to his guns and then overpay and let that hurt us in several other areas. He wouldn't have been able to retain other people. So the Eagles want Jalen Hurts in Philly long term. Yes, we do. And the fact that we're trying to pay him now, speaks to the wisdom that instead of waiting and pay him next year when salaries are going to be bloated because of the quarterbacks waiting in line this offseason to get paid. So I mean, it's obvious that we want to we're committed to him and we're trying to we set a certain number, a cap on the cap to not cap. So we won't get a cap, but okay, I'm done. No. But we said that so that we would be able to, still be able to pay him this offseason and not have to backslide on that and, reset next year and save this year, but next year really pay through the nose because we waited a year extra to pay, and the expectation, the salary expectations went up because the market is just crazy when it comes to quarterbacks. And, those guys are going to get paid, even without the 50% that Uncle Sam's taking home, they're still going to get theirs and then some because, It's the most important position, so it has the highest premium put on it. And Jalen's gonna be raking in, anywhere from 47 to upwards of 50 million. So we'll see. Sorry about that, but my nose just stopped up for some reason. All right, number 3 here. Do the Eagles have any urgency to get a deal done with Hurts before other eligible quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, etc., get theirs done? Of course they do, because those guys are going to shoot for the moon and beyond. And I think the Bengals have more cap than we do. And definitely, I think the Chargers might as well. They might be in salary cap hell, bars. I don't know, but I would, guess that they're reasonable at the very least, because they weren't, I don't think, a top heavy paid team, and those guys still on a rookie contract, so they have the savings for now. But definitely Joe Burrow, he's a top 5 quarterback, in this league, so he's gonna get his money. They want him there long term. Went out and spent a first rounder on him, and the investment has already paid off. He took him to the Super Bowl in his second year, and you got to bank on him being there for the next 15 years. For definitely the foreseeable future. You don't just throw those guys away. They don't grow on trees. You hit, so you invest. And Justin Herbert is the same. Top 10 quarterback in this league. The stats have been there. The playoff wins haven't been, but he's still young. He can still grow a lot, and he's already there. But he just needs to work on a couple of things, and he can maybe vault into that top 5. But already, a lot of franchises are jealous because they trade their quarterback for him in an instant. And yeah, those guys don't come cheap. Like I said, they're not easily replaceable. Look what Daniel Jones got, and he's like a top 20 quarterback in this league out of 32, and he got $40 million a year, $160 million overall. So those two are going to get paid. Number 4. Was Howie surprised he was able to bring back James Bradbury and Darius Slay? Definitely, but that really speaks to the culture here, the appeal, the allure of playing with Jalen Hurts and playing with a team that could have won the Super Bowl if they had more time, got the ball back on offense. Who knows? With more time, who knows what would have happened? But coming off a Super Bowl loss, you got to the grandest stage though. You lost, but you did get there. Only 2 teams can say they even got a ticket to participate, a chance to win. But yeah, like those guys. Darius Slay could have played it on the open market, could have let himself get cut, and he chose to come back here because he loves playing here. James Bradbury, he's only on a 1-year deal, but like the culture here and his chances, like the talent around him, and he put a premium on coming back here. Either one of those guys could make more money elsewhere, but for them was the premium was on winning, staying in a place that has a winning culture. And it's fun to play in as well. They like playing, for their coaches. They like playing, for Nick Sirianni, and the atmosphere he creates, where it's challenging, but also it's a little bit more relaxed than some other places. Chiefly you could say New England, but James Bradbury made it a point that he came back here. He took less money to win, but because essentially he wanted to be here. So C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I had to thank him actually because he opened the door for both those guys being able to come back. If we pay him what he wants, or even maybe just sign him to a regular contract, one or potentially both of those guys could be gone, and it's easier to find safeties than it is corners, especially 2 guys that were all pro in Pro Bowl last year. So you will take that. 9 out of 10 GMs recommended. That's a slam dunk. All right, number 5 here. With the transition from Jonathan Gannon to Sean Desai at defensive coordinator, is Howie starting from scratch in terms of knowing what kinds of traits Desai will prioritize at each position? The answer is no, because he's also a disciple, as Jonathan Gannon was, of the Vic Fangio defense. They both implement the same core system. It's going to look different, with each guy's, particular personality, experience, likes and dislikes, and just overall, flavor and temperament. they're gonna want to show different things, and also with their level of experience. Like Sean Desai he only had a year, but it's still a year compared to Jonathan Gannon. And I think also maybe like I said, their temperaments. I think Desai is just he presents as a little bit more ready than Gannon. Gannon just kind of like running around with it, like a chicken with his head cut off. He had supreme talent. He coasted on that talent last year, and it just was, it just showed up in spots like the Super Bowl weeks, the latter weeks of the season, 15, 16, 17, 18. I mean, so yeah, it's interesting because, like I said, they come from the same core system, but the way they implement it, and I would say maybe three big things like adjustments. Jonathan Gannon, didn't have any. Disguising, I gotta believe that Sean Desai is gonna do a better job at that, and aggressiveness. It doesn't have to look the same when you employ it, but it's about attitude as well. Like it said in Remember the Titans, attitude reflect leadership, Captain. Like you got to be able to pick your spots, of course, but showing aggressiveness. And I haven't looked at Sean Desai, but he hasn't struck me as a type that I haven't done a deep dive that is going to just play it safe. Even though the percentages could be the same, it's like picking your spots when you do it, and not going for stretches without just coasting on. Okay, my front four is going to get there, so I'm just going to believe and trust in them and give them more rope than they should to show that, and you end up biting yourself in the ass. So they may have the same thought. I mean, not thought process. They might have the same come from the same system, but the execution will be different, I believe. Right, number 6 is the fact that the Eagles lost both starting linebackers and both starting safeties a reflection of how the team values those positions, or was the market for those players too expensive? And I agree with Roseman here. It's a mix of both, but I lean more towards the side of it shows how the Eagles under his watch really value linebackers and safeties, and we look at them as replaceable. Let's look at a guy who started games for us last year, Reed Blankenship. He was an undrafted free agent. C.J. Gardner-Johnson came by way of a 5th round pick in a trade, low cost, and refused to pay him what he wanted. I mean that's a whole other story that has caveats to it, but it does speak to the guy. The guy we brought in from the Saints, Justin. He cost maybe $1 million or something. The safety we brought on for the Steelers cost $2 million. The linebacker we brought in, Morrow, cost $1 million and something. N'Kobe Dean, of course, he's on a rookie contract. We did spend a third round on him, so that was kind of rare-ish because we did spend on second and third in the past couple of years, even though they were failures. But it goes to show you that that's where it's just where Howie values those guys, and it isn't bad. But it showcases that we look at them more as expendable, and we're not going to spend premium, especially not a first-round pick, on linebackers, unless it's probably just like a super generational talent, and it just can't be ignored. And it came at the right price. Like, let's just say we had 2 first-round picks, and it was the latter that was in the 20s, late 20s, 30. You'll take that. But, it just goes to show you that, yeah. The little line he says here, we don't want to lose guys like TJ Edwards, but for us, when you have a limited amount of resources, you have to make sure that your priorities are taken care of. And hey, like I said, it's the priorities in place, and safety and linebacker are just not one of them, either of them. You get what I'm saying. All right, the Eagles like Marcus Mariota's mobility. That's an understatement. He's faster than Hurts. I think he runs like a 4.52. 2 low 4.4s, so high 4.4s. Sorry, but yeah, he is like a mirror copy of him, like a poor Jalen Hurts. He did beat the 49ers last year. I like the blueprint that he gave for beating them, and he showed that he has a talent to do it, to execute that in the system. and he can run, he can pass. Needs to work on the deep ball and I would say intermediate accuracy, but we can coach him up and train him up in that. And for $5 million, with incentives $8 million, a steal. And we could have had him so many moons ago under Chip Kelly, but he was willing to bet the farm. And the Tennessee Titans didn't take that trade, and they were fools. It was like one, I think one could have been 2 1s and like some 2s, other picks, and like several of our core players at that time, Fletcher Cox, Michael Kendricks, who was a star linebacker for us, drafted out the second round. I mean, it was crazy. And Titans said no, and I'm like, thank God you guys said no, because we would have got fleeced, and we would have been set back. Drafting the wrong player at the most important position sets your franchise back years. Set your salary cap back years. I mean, if you also put pieces around him, I mean, it used to, especially in the old NFL, used to really handicap you severely. Golly. All right, number 8, the Eagles' other outside acquisitions had some common themes, as many were first-round picks, many had significant injury histories, and they all came cheaply. What were the Eagles looking for in terms of adding value players from the outside? They were looking at cost, man. Cost and, like, it's here, upside. Like, they all had, like, low cost, low risk, high upside, so, a high chance of, reward paying off. Like, Rashard Penny, first-round pick from the Seahawks, 5 years. I don't think he's ever played. His rookie season, was the most, you're the most healthy, you're the most fresh coming into the league. He played the most games in his career, but I think 4 out of 5 years he's been on, been on injury reserve or like, the PUP list, I think in 2020, and he came off in December. So, he was a non-factor. 2021 and 2022 had his best seasons, but, broke his femur last year and then had a, maybe ACL, but, he wasn't able to finish that season. Like, you're banking on this guy. But he has an excellent yards per carry average last 2 years. I think 7 and then 6 or 6 and 7, but that's high. But you're counting on him not getting hurt, finishing a full season. And then Justin Davis, I want to say, like, it was safety that you brought in from the Saints, who was a second round pick of the Bucks, talented but also injury history. Greedy Williams has 2 or 3 years where he had injuries as well, but talented guy, depth signing for us, but former second round pick out of LSU, talented guy, big, has size and can run. Size, weight, speed ratio guy. Who else we decided that? Like Nick Morrow, low cost, 116 tackles last year, career best, former safety. Light pays around 216, but he is also viewed as an ascending talent. And like I said, these guys are gonna play with a chip on their shoulder, playing on 1 year deals. They're gonna really feel like they want to go out there and prove themselves. And like, hey, like Coach said, you may not be re-signing with us, but you're showcasing yourself to the 31 other teams in the league. We don't pay you, somebody else will. So it only works out, for the best of your benefit. We have all those guys, but they all have some kind of red flag or ding on them, that being the reason why we could acquire them for so cheap. It's really on cheap, and also like it shows you where the value is. They were at linebacker, at running back, at safety, positions that are lowly, paid, lowly compensated. It's sad, but it is what it is. Until something changed in the dichotomy of the league. All right, and the last one here, number 9. How we feel about the defensive tackle position? He brought back Fletch, and Fletch is seen as a descending talent at this point, but he's still a good player. And like if you play him on a pitch count, which you need to do, he can still be highly effective. And just a couple seasons ago, he was great, but and he's good now. But we do overlook him a little bit in that regard, just because we were spoiled by what he showed us in the past, and even I did that. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's cool. I get it. And yeah, we kind of overpaid for him. And not, I mean, according to our valuation, on a pay scale, but I'll take that because he's bringing so much back. And also he serves as a mentor. And like we put pieces around him, not peaches, pieces around him. It's a little fruity, pause. But he will be able to excel in the role that we give him. He's a starter, but he won't be a full-time starter as far as like playing most of the majority of the snaps. We'll have a rotation there at D tackle. It's one of those positions where you need to keep guys fresh, ideally. But yeah, we still need to bring in another guy who has talent, to put in that rotation and as an insurance in for next year because Fletch is only on a 1-year deal, and Milton Williams, we don't know, how he's going to pan out. If he could potentially be a starter, that's an unknown. But yeah, man, there's a lot to like. If you could get somebody like Jalen Carter, sure. But there's some nice guys in the second round and beyond that have value and fill both roles as like a get off the field guy in the mold of a Javon Hargrave, as well as guys that are gappers that are just gonna be like Jordan Davis, be able to hold up blocks and let other people free flow to the ball. So it all depends on how he wants to do, and it's a mystery at this point because, like you said, he's not gonna just follow the trends. We're trying to set them, which is why we could draft Bijan. But anyways, let's move on to some news in the league, around the league, and there's not much, but chiefly among them here, Calais Campbell signs a 1-year deal, so the huge defensive tackle / 3-4 end, he's like 6'8", 300 pounds plus. Former Raven, former Jacksonville Jaguar, and originally with the Arizona Cardinals, signed a 1-year deal. He's going to bring a lot to the Falcons there by way of experience and boost that D end room there, D tackle room. He's probably going to play a tackle inside their 4-3. But I mean, like, yeah, they're going to be gearing up to really rush the passer. But have some nice pieces on that line there. Grady Jarrett, and I forget they brought in some other people. And there might be getting like a Tyree Wilson or somebody like that in the draft. So we'll see. It's a mock to go to them, but we don't know. The last thing we'll look at here, Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, on Jordan Love, the expected to be QB1 after Aaron Rodgers gets traded to the Jets. Most likely, we'll see. But he said, let's temper our expectations on him because, I mean, yeah, you don't know what you're going to get over a full season. He roasted us in the game coming in garbage time, but that was in garbage time. It wasn't, a full slate, a full 4 quarters. And, he's played in spot duty. Hasn't had to. They've had the luxury of sitting him because they've had, a generational talent in Aaron Rodgers starting over him. But who knows, what you're going to get. And, history says that, he won't be great out of the gate, even though he's had, time to learn and watch from, number 4. But, I mean, all that to say, number 12, sorry. No, I'm saying number 4. Brett Favre. Oops. But yeah, like he has some talent, obviously. They picked him up, I think, out of UCLA, I want to say. But yeah, he's a guy that he has, the makeup, has arm talent, just about from the neck up. Can he put together? Can he diagnose? Put together? Elevate the offense and the guys around him, and execute. So that's yet to be seen. We shall see. But anyways, that'll be it for today's video. Tomorrow we're gonna really dive into this owners meeting and look at rules and ideas and philosophies around certain things. So excited for that one tomorrow, but that will come tomorrow. Anyways, you're not even watching though, so it's all cool. It's all good. We're gonna get up out of here. But as I always say, fly Eagles fly, and let's mother go. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.